Just driving down the road here. Oh, radio interference. What was that? Oh, there was Ken. What's going on? Oh no! Hello, YouTubers. Playing a new game here called Infinifactory. Where am I now? Some sort of conveyor belt. What's going on? Ah! What's going on? Ah!
Ni hao. Hola. Hello.
Alright. Well, I seem to have been abducted by aliens. And if you've watched my channel for a while, or some of the first videos I put up were solutions to puzzles of the game SpaceChem. That was by Zachtronic Industries. This game is also by Zachtronic Industries. This is Infinifactory. Its name is reminiscent of Infiniminer, which Zachtronic Industries also made. It was actually the inspiration for Minecraft. It was a block-based, or team-based block digging game where you had to collect resources before the other team did. This is also a block-based game, but it's more of a puzzle game than a survival game like Minecraft is, or a team race game like Infiniminer was. Ooh, we got a jetpack. So space is up and control is down. What's going on over here?
I'm in control.
I'm sure you are.
This
You
is
definitely
my dream.
look like you're in control.
I can wake up at any time.
Hello? Hello? Is anyone there? Hello? Hello?
I'd like to wake up now. Oh God! What was that? This isn't real. This is just a dream. I'm in control. Jesus! That must be a 30-foot drop.
Use your jetpack.
This is just a dream.
No, it's not.
Time to wake up.
Okay then. If you've played SpaceChem, that was a puzzle game themed in chemistry, but in reality, it was all about programming. You would have these little small devices called Waldos that would be able to pick up and manipulate individual atoms and cause them to bond to other atoms or unbond, and you would have certain chemical inputs, and you would have to write out the correct instructions for the Waldos to make the required outputs. It also had a bit of a horror theme to it, in that wherever this company went and set up their factories, eventually monsters or some sort of disaster would strike, and you would have to work out a solution using the Waldos in the last puzzle of each section of puzzles to defeat whatever problem had come up. And this is I would say, an engineering or logistics puzzle game instead of a programming puzzle game. But it's got a kind of similar theme, as you can see. There was a former hijacked or abducted person who managed to kill themselves. So there's an undercurrent of horror, but this is a really, really good puzzle game. I'm about halfway through it so far. And let's press R here and see what happens. So we have an input, and this asks for output. You can see that 9, 8, 7, 6, and you can even fast forward it, or you can, well, pause it, but it's not as complete. The door's open and we can go on. And this is basically the tutorial section, and we can build, we can, getting a little ahead. So let's run. We can hit T to pause it so we can see what's going on at any point. And here we go. So you can rotate the blocks by pressing Q and E. You can place blocks down one at a time, or you can drag them out and they'll form in the line automatically in the direction you drag. And you don't even have to do this in the most efficient way possible if you don't want to. I mean, you can do that. It'll work, it'll just take longer. In the actual puzzles, much like SpaceChem, you do get judged on how long it takes to complete. There's a graph. You'll see also the people on your friends list, the exact amount of time it took, but there's a graph you can see where most people finished, or where the possibilities are of how quickly you can do it. I guess we're gonna take the door on the left, like Stanley, because people take the door on the right don't seem to do too well. You can see my house from here. Anyway, let's continue on. Woo! Something important must be happening. Something important that's also going to take a little bit longer than it really should. Nope, here comes something. Must be their leader. I guess he really likes showy introductions. Okay, I'll get right on that. You did ask me which language I spoke before. Sure would have been nice if you used it. Oh, great. Food pellets. And we can actually eat them. Okay, looks like you got a little sink here, a bed, and few puzzles. So, there are 8 big sections of puzzles, plus once you get past this section, you actually get your own, I guess, free build areas. I really haven't played with them. I've just been going after the puzzles. Each puzzle you can create up to 3 separate solutions. And I've actually, in order to record the intro again, I had to set myself offline on Steam. So I'll go through a few of these, and then I'll put myself back online, and you can see the result graphs. This is actually what they look like, the cycles, how long it took. Footprint is how big of an area you use. You can see a lot of people did this, but you can do it like in that. So let's create a new solution here and get through the first training puzzle. And you can fly, and if you try to fly off, they'll stop you and put you back. There's not one here, but in a few of the other puzzles you'll find a failure log like we found earlier. And this is a relatively simple puzzle. We have 3 inputs, we have 3 outputs. They're in different locations though, and if you notice, this input is that type of block, and that needs to go over there, where that type of block needs to go over there. Of course, that means this one is just simple straight. We have to then maneuver these other ones around somehow. And these blocks obey physics, so if I put a block, another conveyor, it will move. Although when I say physics, the physics are not exactly real-world physics. Blocks, you'll note, don't tumble off as they would if you actually have a... let's delete this. If you have a big thing like this, it's not going to fall off or tip until it's unsupported. So, there you go. So let me, this is relatively simple and straightforward of a puzzle. We can have this one come over like here. Then we need to get this one over there. And there's a few ways of doing that. By attaching it to the wall, it will stick there. And then I can just... Well, actually, let's rotate that around, stick another one there. Come out to here. Nope, gotta go one more. And this is... The controls here are, by default, actually the backwards of Minecraft. And I think that actually says a lot about the game. I've actually thought about this myself. But left click places a block. So building in this game is the default action, where left click in Minecraft is to destroy. In this game, right click will destroy, and it's the secondary action. So it really emphasizes that this game is about building. And, well, look at that. By coming across like this, I've actually blocked those blocks, so that's not going to work. And I could have run this puzzle and I would have seen immediately that it was not going to work. Let's just change that as well. This should work. You see, we need 10 of each. I keep hitting... Minecraft, if you're in creative, shift is to go down. In this game, shift brings up your palette of blocks, but as of right now, we only have the conveyor block. So I'm gonna hit R to let this go. And you can see, not quite the same rate, but eventually they all do start counting down. You also hit P to see your footprint. And you can see, look, I got that in 53. Apparently it's possible to get it a little earlier, maybe 49, 48. And my footprint was 49, which maybe the smallest possible. I'm not entirely sure. And this is in early access, so they have a survey. Basically, I haven't run into a bug yet. They're mostly testing puzzle difficulty and how interesting it is, and tweaking and tuning. I know they changed how there's eventually rotator blocks, which will rotate anything that you put on them. And I know they were changed how they initially worked. We'll say it was good, and go back to your cell. But I'm going to be right back, logged into Steam, so I have all my solutions, and you can see the graphs. And I'll be right back. Alright, I am back. That's another nice thing I like. The game, if you've already played it, drops you right in here. You can just go right into your puzzles. By completing certain sections, I've gotten some trophies. If I had fun, I won. I want to see how overflowing this will get. But, let's go back. So, you can see my best is a 44 cycles. And you can see I have different solutions here. This is basically a low cycle. I like going for low cycle. Basically cycles is time steps, so time goes in discrete steps. So, a block will move one conveyor belt section per cycle. It will fall one block per cycle. So I like going for small cycles, although you can also optimize for small footprint, which is what I did here. And you can see I only have one friend on my friend list who currently has this, but you can kind of compete with them. Let's take a quick look. That is one thing I did not mention. There's an input rate, so I can, using the square brackets, 0 is the default. You can actually slow down the rates if you're having problems, but you can increase the rate, and there is a maximum rate. So at this puzzle, the maximum rate is, I guess, 1 above plus 1. Certain puzzles let you go much higher. And you see this one actually, the inputs get blocked as the blocks fall. So you can, or in this case, turn the corner over here. So you can try to eliminate that, but there's not much you can do about it, at least early. As I'm much further into the game, I have unlocked a lot more items, which I am now able to use in my earlier games. So you start off with the conveyor. It's powered by deleted and should not be deleted under any circumstances. But you also have just plain blocks to use as supports or other uses. And you get welders. And these will let you combine 2 blocks together using concentrated deleted energy. And, well, let's see what you can do with welders. So here you need to make... This can't be 3 separate blocks. You need to combine the blocks together to weld them. You see, when you do get new blocks, you are given nice instructions like this. And I think this puzzle we are given just a plain block, since, like, hey, if you put plain blocks, they'll weight up and a new one coming in will push an old one off. So with these welders set up like this, when the furthest one gets to here, it will start moving, but because it's been welded, it will pull the rest along. So even though I only have, basically, this is only going to weld 2 blocks together, because the third one is being pushed in at the same time, it winds up welding all 3 together. And then that outputs. Just like that. Welders also have a vertical version. That you can use from welding from the top. They don't have any bottom-up welders. Now, I got a 74 on this. Apparently, it is possible to get less than 74. I'm not really sure how you would do that. I also have a 17 footprint. I can probably get it to a 16 footprint. In fact, let me exit the cell. And let's see about getting it to... Let's see about getting it much more efficiently. While we listen to this guy. That sound is what you hear if you output something incorrect.
Take me home. I never cared about aliens or spaceships. I hated those shows Gerard always wanted me to watch with him. What was that one? X Factor. No, it was something else. Whatever. I hated it. I wish I had a cigarette.
Okay. So I didn't notice before when I was running this, but they may have been attempting to come in quicker, the blocks. But they might have been unable to because they were falling. So I'm going to try this out, and this may actually go quicker. Additionally, it has, I believe, 1 less block of footprint. So let's see how this goes. Let's put the rate up to max. Well, yeah, that's just going to keep on going. So, in this case, it's not really working out. Now, there are things we get later. I mean, the point of the game, this is the normal welder, this is the vertical welder. You got 2 different sensors side. This is a downward sensor. You get a pusher, you get a blocker. This basically is a piston that's normally in, and then when you get a signal from a sensor through a conduit to it, it pushes out. A blocker is a piston that's normally out, and then when it gets a signal, it pulls in. An eviscerator will destroy blocks. And obviously you got rotators here, and there's at least 3 more blocks that I do not have access to yet. So this is apparently not going to work. So let's erase it, and let's just make my one smaller version. You can drag any blocks you want down onto the hotbar on the bottom. This will work, and in fact, those won't fall into that space. But that's not going to count as a smaller footprint, because the footprint, as far as I can tell, is basically the columns that you build in, plus any column that gets taken up as the blocks move. So basically, for every X and Y position, if you could not stand there without getting hit with a block or where it was built, then that counts as part of the footprint. So let's run it. I'm just going to hold P to show you footprint. And look at that, we are now at a 16 footprint and it's not getting any bigger. It's not going to get any bigger. But it's not any faster. But it is 1 footprint position smaller. And there we go. Not sure how you get shorter than 74. I can kind of see how you can get smaller than 74, but not on your first playthrough, basically. As I'm coming back to puzzles, I can now use these extra things, and they will let you build a smaller, well, a faster machine. It would be a bigger machine, but it would be a faster machine. But I'm at least going to go through each of the puzzles once and play them with only the blocks you have initially, and then maybe I'll come back and find better solutions, maybe using the third solution. So, training routine 4. Yeah, this isn't going to work. Or is it? Oh, it is. Look at that. I've seen many different solutions to this, and as you can see, I'm at +7 input rate. It can be done a little faster. In my case, I am using the fact that they will line up eventually. If I change this rate, I'll put it down to 6 or 5. This won't work anymore, because the blocks won't land on top of each other. And so they don't get welded together, and then they just cause a big problem, and oops, I've outputted the wrong thing. And this is actually pretty good to show you. This is what I need to make. It's like, hey, you have this block here, it's the wrong block, and you have no block here, and that's wrong as well. So if you have some blocks right, they won't be highlighted in red. The blocks that you have incorrect, are highlighted in red. And this is just a small construction. You get big things eventually. So I will put this... it basically pauses at the point where you output something wrong, and you can analyze it and figure out what you did, and you press R again, and oh, look, we have another log in here. Those logs are basically eventually tell the story of what's going on, as well as, I guess, the promotion. There. Let's put this back up to 7, and then go back to your cell. So you get reviews after each section, and it's the aliens again talking to you, and you get the awards. So you don't really learn much, but there are some differences in the scene, and maybe that tells you something as you go on. I haven't started this section yet. I've only got... Well, maybe I have. No, I haven't. I don't want to really show you guys past this first set in the Proving Grounds, because these are basically just the training puzzles. A little more training past the introduction of just putting down some, well, while you're being abducted, you know, showing the machine and putting down the conveyor belts to get those blocks in the right spot. here for this last one I have, well, I have two different solutions, and my first one obviously is, I'm going to say that's the standard solution. I'm guessing that corresponds to this, but then you can see I've improved it to 65, which is very close to what seems like the optimal. So let's... yes, this one. So here you can see we're starting to get bigger outputs. And we need to make this L shape with the dark blocks on the edges and then the lighter block. So we get those here, and then you have another dark block over here, and oh, what do we have here? They're abducting dogs too, and making them... How did he get this far? Well, the way I solve this is like this. I have that delay enough so that this other block can get over here. And then it gets pushed in. So that's how I solve this. There's apparently, that's one of the great things about this game. You can solve this any way you want. You want to take, a long but easier to build machine or easier to understand machine, you can do that. If you want to go for a highly optimized solution, you can do that too. And maybe I'll show you a few things. Shuttle, yeah. So you actually start making what looks like products. So this is called shuttle propulsion units, and it looks like you make small propulsion units and larger propulsion units out of the same basic blocks. In just the section before this, we got introduced to the pushers and the sensors. So here we have a sensor, and we have 5 pushers, and this is how I solved this one. So I have this set up so that this fills up with 5 of them before the sensor activates. The sensor activates, all the pushers push, and the 3 long ones get welded right away, and then the conveyor moves them this way and then in, and the 2 ones go on these conveyor belts 1 block off and then get welded. If I did not offset this, it would be welded in one big 5 long, and I wouldn't have this separation. So let's see how this goes. And here we go. We got the blocks coming out. They fill up, they get pushed and welded, and work just like that. Let's go back to the cell. You get even... Well, you actually, later on, you'll see the shuttles that those propulsion units go on. This is a wave detection array, and apparently I didn't get my first solution working. Oh yes. I could get my first solution working now, I believe. So the first way I thought of getting these things together is we need to deposit these in 2 different piles apparently, and It's one of these cube things with these, I guess these are sensor arrays on either side. So the connectors with 2 sensor arrays. And I thought the way they come out is you get the first sensor array thing and the first cube thing at the exact same time. And then a few cycles later you get another one of these. I'm like, okay, we'll have the first sensor come out here, push on here. This guy will come out at the same time, but because he has a longer path, he'll push on behind. And then a few cycles later, we'll get another one of those, and they'll push on, and we'll get all 3 welded together. And we'll push that off to the side, and then we'll collect 2 of them here, and we'll push one to the one side and the other to the other side. And then they'll come over here, and, well, let's see what happens. Alright, look at that. That's going great. These are separating. Oh, wait, they're the wrong orientation. And they just go right through. Well, I have a solution for that now. Maybe undo that. There is a, undo button. Z. Just like Control Z, except you don't hold Control. I have access to rotators now. There's 2 of them, clockwise and counterclockwise, and oh, look at that. Apparently this was recently added to the game. You can actually press Alt to switch it to the other one. You can rotate these, but it's a rotator itself, so it doesn't make a difference. Okay, this will work. No. Another thing you can do I haven't mentioned, and it's listed in the controls, is you can wheel click on a block to select the exact, whatever block is under your mouse cursor. So the way the rotators work is as soon as a block gets on the rotator will rotate 90 degrees, but then it will stop. You have to remove the block some other way. If I'm envisioning this right, the sensor will be here, then the connector block, then the other sensor. This will come, it will then rotate, and that will cause the other sensor to be put on here, and it'll go this way. So it'll be off by 1 block. It'll be offset. So I'll need to go this way 1, and you know what? Actually, I'll go like this, and we'll go like that, and so it will be pushed on. For this one, it's the back. So I want to rotate around. That will put the other sensor on here. Let's go like that, and we'll redo this so we won't have to push it over at the end. So this should now work, and let's check it out. Okay, that did work. I actually want this to be the other rotation direction. So let's hit. So you notice it rotated. It was then still on it was on this belt, but because it was still on the rotator didn't activate again. But this way, it gets a little further because of its, without needing to be pushed again, and so it goes a little quicker. So this is working. This isn't optimized, though. You can see there's plenty of time that this is waiting for more blocks to come out. So let's, before it completes, let's finish it. And let's put the input rate up too and see if it still works. Yeah, it does. I don't think I could put it up any faster. Let's... This will probably... Yeah, that then messes up. So we'll leave it at input rate 2 and see how well this does. Yeah, faster the second block comes out here before the connector gets all the way over. We could fix that, but we'd have to, like, move this, and that is one of the big requests right now. I think they are trying to figure out a way of putting it in, is selecting an area and copying it or moving the blocks in it. Your factory. So if you like, oh, I need this over one, instead of having to redo the whole thing. But like I said, without the rotator blocks, I could not get this to initially work, so I had to figure out a different way of putting these together. And I did do that, and we'll take a quick look at that. Okay, so now this turns out to be actually better than my previous best. And it also turns out to be smaller. So yes, obviously coming back when you have access to more of the block types is definitely going to improve things. So this is my previous solution. It is smaller. It little slower. So this is my solution before the rotator blocks, which I just did for you, kind of live. So after thinking about it for a while, this is what I came up with. I started a different solution, like they give you 3 different solution slots, so you can try different things. And instead of welding them in this direction, I welded them in this direction. It's kind of similar setup, and then I had to have this a little different, how to split them up left and right. This also works at a +2. I don't think it works at a +3. And then when we get here, the sensors detect it and they get pushed left and right. There's probably a better way of doing this. Like, I probably don't need that pusher. I could just put a belt right here. And, once they're built and split up, it's relatively straightforward. This actually turns out to be, you can see it's a lot less complex than the previous solution. So that's actually I wouldn't say it's a problem, but one of the things you can definitely get when trying to do these puzzles is overthinking it and making a much more complex machine than you need. Machine or factory or whatever you want to call this. This is definitely a logistics game. Finding the most efficient ways of doing things, and it's... as my day job, I am a programmer, software engineer, and this really appeals to, I guess, a certain aspect of what I do, finding efficient ways of doing things in a programming space, or, but this is definitely a similar type of skill and optimizing, and this game is just really feeds into that and is really interesting to me because of that, and hopefully you'll find it too. Yeah, so it's currently on Steam in early access, although I have not run into a bug. The early access seems to be mostly puzzle tweaks and interface tweaks, and they have a Reddit where you can post suggestions and I believe they're also looking at the Steam forums. And let me show you the test zones. They have test areas. Let's go. Are they all the same? Yeah, they all appear the same. Well, at least the first two do. I was wondering if they had different environments. No, okay. They just let you build whatever you want. They have a few different floors. They have 3 different inputs up here and 3 down there, and you can change the, off. Oop. 1x, 2x, 3x, and you can use all the blocks you've unlocked so far. So you can see this is 3 times the rate, 2 times the rate. The initial rate and things that are off won't come out at all, and you can basically build your own machines and test out different things. There's also Steam Workshop, where I believe maybe, I don't know exactly how that works. I haven't even looked into it yet, but you can definitely make up your own puzzles and then share them out to other players through the Steam Workshop. So, yeah, the previous, or SpaceChem also had that eventually. It wasn't in the initial game, but it eventually added a whole user puzzle section, and that was a lot of fun. A lot of interesting puzzles were made there, and definitely check this out, and if you like it, purchase it. It's definitely a lot of fun, and I'm only, halfway into the game, and I haven't even started looking at any of the workshop puzzles, and definitely put in more hours than I like to admit already, and I just got this earlier this week. So yeah, it's came out apparently on the 19th. I did not find out about it until about a week after it came out, but I've already put in several hours into it, and I'm having a lot of fun. And a lot of the puzzles later on are like, how do I even do that when you first look at this? And then once you figure them out, and you feel, you're just like, wow, that I made a really genius solution, and that's just amazing. So it really, it's got a good reward feedback loop, and it's a lot of fun to play. So definitely check it out. Infinifactory on Steam by Zachtronic Industries. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Let's go eat some more food pellets. Delicious. Let me get over there. I gotta build a cleaning robot.